Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Bandhanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam Iti Pum Sharpita Vishnu Bhaktischayan Navalakshana Kriyati Bhagavati Ada Tanmanye Ditam Uttamam. Hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. So Prahlad Maharaj is telling his father that this is the highest and the best education that anyone can get. Because Jivira Swadapoin Nityara Krishnadas were eternal servants of God. This is not accepted or acceptable either by his father Hiranyakashipu, who is a Grihavrata, one who has taken a vow to enjoy this material world. Although Krishna warns that this material world is dukhalayama shashvatam, mamupecha punar janma, dukhalayama shashvatam, napnuvanti mahatmanas, samsiddhim paramam gati. In the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna that devotees of the Lord who are very wise, they want to leave this place of birth and death, this ocean of birth and death, and because it's temporary and full of miseries. As we know, there's so many types of kleshas or miseries inflicted upon us in the course of our life. So the only way to get out of this place, Srila Prahlad Maharaj is teaching his friends, his schoolmates, Komaram Acharat Pragyo Dharmam Bhagavatanihan Durabam Manusrijam Janma, that this human form of life is very rare and it's meant to be utilized for a Dharmam Bhagavatanihan, to question what is my Dharma, what is the purpose of my life, having attained this human form of life, atato brahma jigyasa, I can ask, who am I, what is the purpose of life, and what happens to me after death, and so on. So here Prahlad Maharaj is giving that, my dear father, I don't care about your teaching of political processes, sociology, political science, making friends and enemies. None of these things are actually helpful in from the point of view of solving the problems of life. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Krishna tells Arjuna in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that a wise person who has knowledge sees the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease. That these are actually the real problems that need to be solved. Although in modern society, human society, they're simply trying to solve the problems of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending the 4 animal propensities, ahara, nidra, bhaya, and maitunya. And they're concerned about making life more comfortable, pursuing sense gratification, which they equate with happiness. However, this is the wrong path. Nate vidu swa arta gatim hi vishnum durashraye bahir artamanina andarya tandar upaniyamanas Shatutya Urugaya Badha, that those people who are always looking outside of themselves for satisfaction, Durashaya ye Bahir Arta, they're looking outside. Where is happiness? Where is happiness? Bahir Arta Manina. Instead of searching within themselves, that the Lord is within one's heart, and one can attain knowledge from the Lord, as he says, Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Pritipurvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenamam Upayanti Te. That those of my devotees who engage in my devotional service, Bhajatam Pritipurvakam, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, from within their hearts I give them the realization that they are eternal parts and parcels of me. Krishna says, Mamai Vamso Jivaloke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Manasastanindriyani, Prakritistani Karshati. That these living entities are my eternal parts and parcels. They're eternal. We're eternal. We're not these material bodies. Here, Hiranyakashipu, he worshipped Lord Brahma to get some boons. He was trying to make himself immortal by some arrangement, some tricks, some kind of material manipulation. Similar in our modern society today, they're also trying to solve the problems of death by some chemical process, by trying to preserve a dead body and keep it for many, many years in a frozen state. They're somehow trying to attain immortality. Ravana also tried to attain immortality by performing great austerities. He was cutting his head off, one head every 1,000 years of austerities, tapasyas. He would cut one head off. So, and he also worshipped Lord Brahma. So Hiranyakashipu performed this great austerity for the wrong purpose, for attaining something which is impossible, immortality. So then he asked Lord Brahma, who came to give him a boon because he had performed such a great austerity. He was actually sustaining his life, his soul within just bones. His bones were all he had. He was standing in an anthill, and the ants had consumed all of his flesh. Still, by mystic power, he was able to sustain his soul is still able to sustain itself in this body made of bones. So Lord Brahma came and sprinkled some immortal nectar on his skeleton, basically, and he reacquired his body by the mystic arrangements. But then he was asking immortality. Brahma says, no, I'm not immortal. How can I give it to you? Abhama bhuvana loka punaravartina arjuna mamupecha punarjanma naiti mameti surjana. That even Lord Brahma and the highest planet in this universe, of which there are billions and trillions of universes, all the way down to the Indragopa, little insect, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death take place. Therefore, Hiranyakashipu said, well, make sure I can't be killed by any demigod or any demon or any human. Bless me or give me the boon that I may not be killed during the day or night, in the air, on land or water. In this way, he's trying to carve out his own immortality. He's trying to outsmart God, which is impossible. God has unlimited and infinite intelligence. The Lord's intelligence is unimaginably infinite. There's no limit to Krishna. So he is unlimitedly intelligent. And we see that Lord Krishna outsmarts Hiranyakashipu. So here, the beginning of devotional service, Adoshada Tata Sadhu Sangha, is associating with devotees. And how do we associate with devotees? By chanting and hearing. Tata bhajana kriya sat tato anartha nivriti sat. That by associating with devotees, we lose and engaging in the processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting, which is most important. Then anartha nivriti, we lose all our unwanted desires, all the unwanted desires, vikarma, the activities that non-devotees engage in, animal slaughter, engaging in gambling, intoxication, illicit sex. These are all called vikarmas, or activities which incur huge amounts of sinful reactions in the next life. So the devotee of the Lord is under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master and sadhus, devotees of the Lord. One is guided in the performance of devotional service. And gradually and slowly, tata nishta tato ruchi, becomes fixed up in devotional service and develops a taste for chanting the holy names of the Lord. More and more. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purno Shuddho Nityo Mukto Binadvam Nama Namine, that the holy name of Krishna is full of nectar. It is complete. Purno is full of nectar and it's very complete. And one can develop a taste for this holy name of the Lord, which is non-different from Krishna himself. Therefore, how do we associate with Krishna is by hearing and chanting his wonderful glories, his wonderful pastimes, his form, his activities, his beauty, his words. In so many ways, we want to absorb ourselves in Krishna. And this Rupa Goswami, this is like the fire of devotional service. When there's a fire, a forest fire, all the creatures, everything is destroyed. So all the different unwanted desires within our heart, anarthas, are destroyed by the fire of devotional service explained by Rupa Goswami. Anyabilashita shunyam jnana karmana navritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. Rupa Goswami says that by performance of devotional service, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, Anyabilashita shunyam, one's subtle and gross desires become dissipated almost to nil. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Jnaniyatu Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahoitukam. We see that so many devotees, like Prahlad Maharaj and other great devotees, even recently, they're engaged in such pure devotional service. They become so enlivened in tasting the ecstasy of love of God through chanting of the holy name, that the example given are the Goswamis, like Raghunath Das Goswami. He was born in a very, very wealthy family. It says that his father had the wealth of the king of heaven, Indra, and that he was married to a very beautiful lady who has the beauty of an apsara, But because he was benedicted with the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he developed so much attachment to the Lord and his holy name, that he is known as the personification of renunciation. And that he gave all these things up, just like stool, one passes stool in a hole. It's described by Lord Chaitanya. These ato griha kshetra sutapta viter janasya moho yamahamameti pumsos trio maitani bhavametam tayor eva hridaya grantimahu, that the heart is full of these knots of attachment to wife, children, house, properties, bank balance, all these things disappear at the time of death. So Raghunath Das, although he had so much wealthy wealthy situation compared to the kingdom of heaven, the king of heaven, Indra, and his most beautiful wife, like an apsara from the heavenly planets, he just, the higher taste, rasavarjam rasopiyasya, this higher taste of love for Krishna was experienced by him, and therefore he ran away from his home. He escaped by the grace of Lord Nityananda, who had ordered him to arrange the chip rice and yogurt, chip rice and condensed milk festival in Panihati. And with the money he had from his father, he purchased so many ingredients and fed so many villages along the banks of the Ganges in Panihati. And all the various Vaishnavas were sitting along the banks of the Ganges. Some of them were sitting in the Gangas. Some of them were sitting on the bank, on the land, or in the water of the Ganges, and in partaking of this chip rice prasadam, chip rice and yogurt, chip rice and condensed milk. And Lord Nityananda was there also with his followers, great Vaishnavas. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared there, and Nityananda was taking remnants of all the Vaishnavas and feeding Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was invisible, was returning the same favor to Lord Nityananda from the remnants of all these Vaishnavas. And only a few pure devotees like Raghunath Das could actually see that Lord Chaitanya was there in his unmanifest form. This is a wonderful festival called the Chidadahi Mahotsav, Chidadadi Mahotsav, Chip Rice Festival. So this is very purifying. And he was blessed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he walked through the forests in West Bengal and Orissa, and in 12 days he arrived at Jagannath Puri, where Gauranga Mahaprabhu put him under the protection of Swarup Damodar. And then, of course, Raghunath Das, his father was sending him lots of money, and he was inviting Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with the funds coming from his father. He was paying for prasadam and feeding Lord Chaitanya. But after a while, he thought, why am I taking money from materialistic persons? Why am I doing this? It's just like prostitution. So he rejected this practice, and he would stand outside the Simadwara gate in Puri, and the custom was that the pandas would arrange for foodstuffs to be given to the sannyasis and so on. After that, he thought, this is also disturbing my mind. I'm always thinking like a prostitute. This person will give me, this person gave me yesterday. Maybe he'll bring me something and give me something again today. This is what he thought. This is disturbing to the mind. So then he would go in the sewers in Jagannath Puri, and the shopkeepers would throw away Jagannath prasadam, rice and so on, into the sewers. The leftovers and so on were disposed of. And Raghunath Das would take this rotten rice that even the cows of Tailanga would not eat. And he would take this rice and he would clean it up and wash it, and that was all he was eating. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard about this, he came there and said, "You're feasting and you're not feeding me? Where's your character?" So Gauranga Mahaprabhu was very pleased with Raghunath Das, who became known as the personification of renunciation. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shisharcham Eka Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dari Kripanidhi Yastra Maham Prapadye. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya himself, he glorified Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has come now in this age of Kali. He's descended from the spiritual realm, Goloka Vrindavan, and he is teaching us three things: vairagya, renunciation of all material things, renunciation of property, wealth, material possessions, and so on. Vidya, he's giving us real knowledge, the knowledge of the soul and relationship with the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Soul, Sambandha. And he's also giving us pure bhakti, abhideya, how to act in pure devotion to the Lord. So these three things are being taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared on this planet 500 years ago. So here, his representatives also appear in the material world, like Prahlad Maharaj, for the purpose of spreading the mission of Lord Chaitanya or Lord Krishna, for liberating the souls from this place of birth and death. So here, Prabhupada is saying, to execute devotional service, one should always engage in hearing and chanting about Krishna. So 24 hours a day, satatam kirtayantam mam yatantas cha mam dridavrata namasyantas chamam nityam nityukta upasate. That always chanting my glories, my devotees are always chanting my glories with great determination. Yatantas mam dridavrata, with great determination. And always offering obeisances to me. Namasyantas tamam nitya. Constantly. In this way, one will please the Supreme Lord. Here, Prabhupada says there is no qualification other than the desire. There is no social requirement. Prabhupada quotes that in the 9th chapter, Mamupecha, Mamhi Partavipasrichu, Tepishu Papayonaya, Strios Vaishas Tata Sudras Tepiyanta Param Gatim. That those who are considered less intelligent, mercantile people, laborers, and women also are qualified to become pure devotees of the Lord and Paramgatim, attain the goal of human life, the spiritual world, attain love for Krishna. So no one is disqualified. In the second canto, Sukadeva Goswami says, Kirata Hunanja Pulinda Pukash, Ambira Shamba Yavana Kashadaya, Yene Chapapa Tadapashraya Shraya, Sudyanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha. He's saying that those persons who are considered very sinful, Kirata are the tribal people of Africa. Sometimes they're cannibals even. They eat humans. Hunandra the Hund, Attila the Hun in East Asia, he would slaughter just whole towns and villages and take over various territories by simply attacking and wreaking violence on anyone and everyone. So Andhra, those persons in Andhra Pradesh who are tribals. Pulinda Pulkash, people in China, Pulinda Pulkash. Yine Chapapa, these persons are known to be quite sinful. They're not born in the Vedic culture. It says they can become purified by a pure devotee of the Lord. To Shudanti Tasmai Prabhavishname. One who is devotee of the Lord will qualify these persons to become great devotees of the Lord and go back home, back to Godhead. So even Malechas and Yavanas and dog eaters can become pure devotees of the Lord. As we know, a famous verse in the third canto, Aho bato swapacho togaryan, yajjivage vartate nama tubhyam, te puste juhuvur shashnur arya, brahmunachur nama grinanti ye te. Oh, how wonderful it is that a person born in a family of dog eaters, but who keeps the name of the Lord on his tongue, has already performed all Vedic sacrifices, performed all Vedic austerities, all types of austerities, and taken bath in all the holy places of India. He is more than qualified than even a Brahmin, because he's become purified by surrendering at the lotus feet of a devotee, a pure devotee of Lord Vishnu. So this is the power of the holy name, that regardless of how sinful a person is, what low family he's born in, tribals, cannibals, meat eaters, hunters, Migari the hunter, it bears no weight if one surrenders. Naishamatis, Prahlad Maharaj tells in this chapter, Naishamatis tavadurukam rangrim, Sprishasya nanar tagano yadarta, Mahiya sampada rajobhisheka, Niskinchananam navrinita yavat. Unless one takes the dust from the lotus feet of a great devotee, a pure devotee of the Lord, and takes abhishek or a bath in the dust coming from the lotus feet of a great devotee of the Lord, unless he does that, his whole life is wasted. This is what he's telling his father further down in this 7th canto. So this is the secret of success, is that Prahlad Maharaj took shelter. He was given shelter, actually. He was given shelter by Narada Muni, who's a very empowered devotee of the Lord, great devotee of the Lord. And Narada Muni was able to bring him to the platform of pure devotional service. Bhaktiastu ananyaya shakya aham evam vidorjuna gatum jastrum chatatvina praveshtum cha parantapa. Krishna tells Arjuna in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktiastu ananya, that the only thing that pleases me, that allows me to reveal myself as I'm standing here before you in my two-armed form as Krishna, the beloved of Maharaj Nanda, playing a flute, that form is revealed only by unalloyed devotional service, no contamination whatsoever, by jnana, by karmakanda, by yoga, mystic yoga, Naham Vidar Natapasa. You can't understand me just by studying Vedas, even he says, or by performing great austerities, he says. So people study the Vedas, which is vast, vast amounts of literature given by the incarnation of God, millions and millions of Sanskrit slokas written by or given to Sukadeva Goswami, written by Ganesh, Ganapati, Vedic literatures that even one who studies without proper guidance of a bona fide spiritual master can never understand Krishna. Students of the Vedas come up with their own ideas about the conclusion of the Vedas, but Krishna says, Vedanta vid eva chaham. I am the conclusion of the Vedas. To surrender to me is the purpose of the Vedas. Vasudeva Paro Veda. Vasudeva Parantapa, Vasudeva Paragyana, Vasudeva Paramaka. This is in the first canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, that Vasudeva Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, he's the goal of all activities, the goal of all sacrifices, offering of ghee into the fire. He's the goal of all the performances of tapasya. He's the goal of all knowledge, jnana. He's the goal of yoga, all yogas, and he's the end goal of all the Vedas. So this is described by Sukadeva Goswami. So here Prabhupada is saying that sometimes a person engaged in fruitive activities customarily offers the results to Vishnu. But here it is said, Bhagavati Ada, one must directly offer everything to Vishnu. This is called sannyas, not merely nyas. Tridandi sannyas carries 3 dandas, signifying kaya, mano, vakya, body, mind, and words. All these should be offered to Vishnu, then one can begin devotional service. Fruitive workers first perform pious activities, formally or officially offer results to Vishnu. The real devotee, however, first offers his surrender to Krishna with body, mind, and words, and then uses his body, mind, and words for the service of Krishna as Krishna desires. So we read about Maharaj Puranjana. What happened was the Narada Muni had met the sons of Maharaj Prachini Barhishat, the Prachetas, and they were taught by Narada Muni to renounce this world and simply go back home, back to Godhead. Don't get involved. He said, he preached to them, don't get involved in having queens. They were sons of Prachina Barhishat, who was a great king, who was following Vedic culture. He was involved in arranging huge sacrifices. This was in a previous age, Treta Yuga, where Tretayam Yajanam Makai, that in Treta Yuga, the process for self-realization was a performance of ritualistic yagyas, sacrifices for the sake of Vishnu. So he was doing these things, but he was a fruitive worker. He was performing karma kanda, pious activities for the benefit of having many, big kingdom, many wives, many children, horses, elephants, chariots, soldiers, and so on. So Narada Muni came to him and started talking to him about an allegorical person called Maharaj Puranjana. And Maharaj Puranjana was wandering around the earth. This is an allegorical explanation of Maharaj Prachina Barhishat. Puranjana literally means the soul enclosed within the body. Puranjana. The soul, which is contained within the body. The body is made up of the the elements, the 8 elements, the 5 knowledge acquiring elements, and the subtle body is intelligence, false ego, and mind. And so described that Mars Paranjana was wandering around, and then he came to a large city of 9 gates. So the body has 9 gates: the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the genital, the anus. Like this, there are 9 holes or gates of the body. And so the soul is contained in this city of 9 gates, and trying to enjoy this material city, the city of 9 gates. So Narada Muni was preaching to Prachina Barishat, Hamar's Paranjana, because he was involved in hunting animals. At the time of death, these animals would come and inflict punishment on him, inflict injury on him. Although kings and kshatriyas are allowed to perform hunting activities or perform animal sacrifices, still this is still condemned or rejected by the higher sages and the higher understandings, as Krishna says to Arjuna. Naham Vedarna tapasa nadanena nachejaya. Like all these different forms of Vedic practices won't get you anywhere unless your devotion to Krishna is purely unmotivated like that. So Maharaj Paranjana, he dies. His body is attacked or invaded by Chandavega, who has 365,000 soldiers. These are the days a person, if he has 100 years of life, and each year is 360 days. In this way, he has so many days. So Chandavega, another fictitious person, attacks the city of 9 gates, and the old serpent in the city of 9 gates tries to defend. That is the life heirs within the body. The driving force within the body, the soul, is attacked. Like this, the life heirs are attacked. Also, Paranjana is depicted as a person who's very attached to his material intelligence, which is compared to a beautiful wife who one is overly attached to. So in this way, the whole allegory is describing the conditioned soul struggling with this city of 9 gates, the material body, struggling with the mind and intelligence, which is driving him into more and more karmic reactions. So here, Prabhupada is saying that this is simply fruitive activity. Narottam Das Thakur says, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Vishera Vishera Bandha. Vishera means drinking poison. That we're simply drinking poison if we are performing devotional service or worship of God to improve our material situation, our material opulence, our intellect. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Namam duskritina mudha prapadyante naradama mayaya aparita jnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. The many people who are very knowledgeable, or jnanis, they have so much knowledge, they even study the Vedas, but they don't surrender to Krishna, Atmani Vedanam. They never surrender. They don't accept Krishna as protector, master, and friend. These are given by Rupa Goswami. uh, that one must reject all things not conducive to practicing devotional service and accept only those things which are supporting or conducive to practice of devotional service. One should always feel oneself humble and meek. One should see that the Lord is one's protector, master, and also friend. As it says here, one of the 9 processes is sakyam, to be the well-wisher of Krishna, meaning that Krishna wants all his living entities to go back home, back to Godhead. That is Krishna's desire. God has feelings and compassion. And so he's desiring, he's feeling such pain for these conditioned souls who are going through so many various species of life. Purusho prakritisto hi guna prakriti sadguna karanam guna sangosyad sadasam yoni janmashu, that they take birth in many different species of life. And they're always struggling with the mind and the 6 senses. This is the predicament of these souls, what to speak of Kali Yuga, even in other yugas like Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga. Things are much better. People were at least had some dharma. They were practicing some religious principles and so on. But in Kali Yuga, the state of affairs is very, very dark. And the only hope is this Srimad Bhagavatam, which gives light in the darkness. So here, Prabhupada is saying that we want to serve Krishna without any fruitive interests. Sometimes in the association of devotees, we have a desire for fame and name, power over other devotees. We want followers. Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim. We want a beautiful wife. We want beautiful children. It's not perfect surrender, pure surrender. Wealth. We want some wealth. We want a comfortable living situation. The devotee of the Lord, who is more advanced, he depends fully on Krishna to guide him through his life. And if Krishna wants him to be poor, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Manaso Deho Geho Yo Kichumora Arpunan Tuapada Nandikishora. In happiness, my mind, my words, my home, my family, everything I use in the service of Krishna. If you want, even you can kill me, Krishna. In poverty, in health and disease, poverty and wealth, it makes no difference to me. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitrakuna evachan nirmamo nirdahankaro samaduka sukakshami. In the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna what it means to be a pure devotee of the Lord. What does it take? Adveshta, one who is not envious of anyone. Sarvabhutana, Maitra Kuna, is friendly to all living entities because he has no ambition whatsoever in the material realm, in the material sphere. Karuna, so he's compassionate. He can be compassionate because he's in the ocean of love for Krishna. So one who loves Krishna is very compassionate to others, sees that their suffering is brought upon themselves by serving the mind and senses. Nirmamo nirahankaro means that nothing is mine. Krishna is the supreme personality, the supreme proprietor. He's created everything around me, the trees, the fruits, the resources in the ground, natural resources, water, everything comes from Lord Krishna. Therefore, we see it as Krishna's. one who sees Krishna in everything and everything in Krishna. Mayatadamidam sarvam jagadavyaktamurtina. Matstani sarvabhutani mahiteteshu chapyam. Krishna's spread throughout the universe. Everything emanates from him. Yomam pashati sarvasya sarvam chamahi pashati. The one who sees me and everything in me, he's a true knower of things. I am never lost to him, nor is he lost to me. Bhaktosiye sakha cheti. He tells Arjuna, you're my friend and you are my devotee. So what are you worrying about? Simply perform your duty without any attachment. You're not the doer. Mapalishu kadachana. Don't be attached to the fruits. Karmani vadikaraste. Perform your duty without any attachment. You're not the doer. You're simply a soul within the body. And the body is the instruments of action. Right? Adishtanam tata kartam karnam chapritagvidam. That this body is a tool created by God for us to go back home, back to Godhead. It's made of the instruments of action. With this body, we can serve Krishna and become purified. So in that way, at the time of death, we remember the Lord. Anta kale chamame vasmaran muktva kalevaram. One who thinks of Krishna at the time of death, he attains Krishna's abode. Right? So, fruitive desires, fruitive work, these types of things are not pure desires and will force us to take another birth in the material world. So we have to become free from all desires, gross and subtle. So Prabhupada quotes Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur here as saying, in his Tatya, the word Shravana refers to giving oral reception to the holy name and descriptions of the Lord's form, qualities, entourage, and pastimes, as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar authorized scriptures. After orally receiving such messages, one should memorize the vibrations and repeat them. So the great devotees of the Lord, as we know, the 6 Goswamis were living under a different tree every night. They didn't even have a place of residence. And they were simply, He Radhe Vrajadevi Ke Chalalite Nanda Suno Kutaha. The Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Jiva Goswami. They were living under a tree and they were saying, where is Radha? Are you in Govardhan Hill with Krishna? Where is Lalita and Vishaka? Where are they? Where are the gopis? What are they doing? Are they preparing foodstuffs for Krishna? Is Mother Yashoda, is she searching after Krishna? Naughty Krishna? Where are they? In this way, they were constantly absorbed in the transcendental activities of the Lord, his transcendental activities and his naughty behaviors, his pulling down trees, Nalakuvera and Manigriva, the 2 Arjun trees, killing the demon Trinavarta, Putana, Shakatashura, Agasura, Aristasura. Krishna and Balaram were doing all kinds of activities, which is completely transcendental. Ajopi san avyatma bhutanamishvaropi san prakritin tamavastavya sambhavati atmamayaya. The Krishna, although he's unborn and he never dies, he appears again and again for the benefit of all human beings, of all living beings, and he comes to reestablish religious activities, religious principles, and destroy adharma or demoniac or irreligious activities. That is his purpose. So these pastimes of lifting Govardhan Hill, the six Goswamis are always remembering how Krishna is lifting Govardhan Hill, and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan are taking shelter of Govardhan Hill. His friends, Madhumangal, Sudam, Sridham, Subal, all the cowherd boys, thousands and trillions of them, trillions of cows, all were given shelter under this Govardhan Hill that happened 5,000 years ago. Now, who will believe it? Only devotees. Krishna says, Name Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samavritaha Mudayam Nabijanati Mamebhyam Paramahabhyayam. I never show myself, I never reveal myself to foolish persons. I'm covered by my Yoga Maya. Mudhoyamna, one who is bewildered by material knowledge and by the material modes of nature, Sattva, Raja, and Tama, Mudhanam yam nabijanati mamebhya, they don't understand my transcendental position. Param avyayam, param, I am superior to all. And avyayam, I don't die. Sachit Ananda Vigraha, Anadir Adi Govinda, original source of everything. That is Krishna. Although he's lying in the lap of Mother Yashoda, that is the Vatsalya, or parental love. He's relishing that his devotee is experiencing so much protective emotions and maintenance, taking care of Lord. Very, very attractive to Krishna, very appealing. And this is what wins the heart of God, this pure emotion of taking care. He doesn't care if you know he's God or not. The devotional service in Vrindavan is of the highest nature. It's not tarnished or compromised by awe and veneration. Oh my God, he's created this entire universe. He's so amazing and great. It's very fearful when he showed Arjuna the Virat Roop, the universal form with different types of creatures, yakshas, rakshasas, kinnaras, apsaras, gandharvas, serpents, nagas from Nagalok, all different creatures within his body. Is very fearful. Arjuna became quite fearful. So Krishna is not so impressed if you can elaborate on his greatness. Yad yad vibhuti mat sadvam shrimat urjitam evava tattadivaga bhagavad mamotejam sasambhava tattadivaga cho mamotejam sasambhava. That all these great wonders that you see in my universal form are nothing but a tiny little spark of my splendor. That is Krishna. So Krishna just wants us, his devotees, pure love, pure devotion, pure love for him. That's all he's trying to extract from our hearts. So all he's trying to do is extract from our hearts this pure devotion, which is dormant and which we can develop through endeavoring with great determination, great enthusiasm, utsahan nischayat daryat, patience, nischayat, daryat, determination, utsahan nischayat daryat, tatat karma pravartana, falling in the footsteps of the great acharyas, sangatyagat sato vrite, rejecting materialistic association and embracing and accepting the association of devotees only. Association with devotees means Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Bandhanam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam, Dasyam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam. The 9 process devotion service to be done with devotees, Shravanam, beginning with hearing and chanting, accompanied by hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord and his devotees as revealed in Srimad Bhagavatam. That is sadhu sangha. That is real association. So Tata Kama Bhavartana Sangha Tyago, give up the association of materialistic people. Sato Vrite, Sadhvir Bhakti, or Pranashati. These are the 6 items that one should accept as given by Rupa Goswami, Upadeshamrita. We want to engage in these 6 activities. These 6 items must be embraced by us so that we can make spiritual advancement, so that at the time of death, Krishna will take us in his loving embrace. Prema Pumarta Mahan, the goal of life, how to love God. So Bhakti Siddhanta is saying here that we want to give oral reception to the Lord's form, qualities, entourage, pastimes, as explained in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and other authorized scriptures. So we have to accept it, given by the great Mahajans, the great Mahabhagavatas, not by some professionals, as there are so many so-called yogis and gurus who go to the West, go outside, and they preach some nonsense, some convoluted ideas about Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not for professionals. The Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from God. It's to be given. Of course, they can give a donation, but for people to go and speak use the Bhagavatam for their own social motives, political motives, material motives, this is very, very offensive to the Srimad Bhagavatam. The purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam is to teach us how to love God. That's all. That is the goal of human life. So Prabhupada describes these various items, these various processes of devotional service to Krishna, offering prayers, worshiping the Lord, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Shamanim Kirtanam Vishnu Smarnam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam, offering prayers, worshiping the Lord in the temple, serving the Lord in many ways. Sakyam, making friends with the Lord and surrendering mind, body, and words to the Lord. So that is my contribution to this particular verse today. I will send it to the persons concerned, and perhaps we can give a live class when there's better signal here in Mayapur. Thank you, and Hare Krishna.